Well, I think the biggest problem, terrestrial problem that Earth faces is the sustainable energy problem, and so I think there's going to be a number of breakthroughs in that arena because they kind of have to be. But I think there will be, as they say, necessity is the mother of invention. So I would expect to see significant breakthroughs in energy storage and probably breakthroughs in energy generation as well. Although I actually think that there have been some pretty big breakthroughs in solar power. There's going to be huge breakthroughs in genetics, in decoding DNA and then also writing DNA. So once you've read DNA, you figure out where's the error. You want to sort of write the corrective code. I mean, DNA is basically firmware. If there's a disease that somebody has and it's genetic, and you could sort of fix that, and I think we may be able to fix sort of Alzheimer's, and so I expect there's going to be a lot of breakthroughs in the genetics area. That's going to be really, really huge. Of course, a lot of the biggest breakthroughs are going to be difficult to anticipate in advance. Yeah, but probably the whoppers are energy transport and genetics. There'll probably be some really big breakthroughs in understanding of the human mind and consciousness.
When you think of, say, the first controlled powered flight was 1903 with the Wright brothers. And then 66 years later, we put the first people on the moon. I mean, that, if you'd ask people, say in 1900, what are the odds of, man landing on the moon, they would have said that's ridiculous. And if you try to talk to them about the internet, what are you even talking about? Like, this sounds so crazy. But today, with a $100 device, you can video conference with anyone in the world. I mean, I think directionally, I can tell you what I hope the future has, as opposed to maybe what it will be, because this may just be wishful thinking. I hope we are out there on Mars and maybe beyond Mars, the moons of Jupiter. I hope we're traveling frequently throughout the solar system, perhaps preparing for missions to nearby star systems. I think all of this is possible within 50 years. And I think that would be very exciting to do that. And I think we'll see autonomy advance tremendously. I think that's actually quite near term. My guess is in probably 10 years, it will be very unusual for cars to be built that are not fully autonomous. 10 years. I think almost all cars built will be capable of full autonomy in about 10 years. As it is, the Tesla cars that are made today have the sensor system necessary for full autonomy, and we think probably enough compute power to be safer than a person. So it's mostly just a question of developing the software and uploading the software. And if it turns out that that more compute power is needed, we can easily upgrade the computer, and other manufacturers will follow and do the same thing. So getting in a car will be like getting in an elevator. You just tell it where you want to go, and it takes you there with extreme levels of safety, and that'll be normal. It'll just be normal. Like for elevators, there used to be elevator operators. You get in, there'd be a guy moving a lever. Now you just get in, you press the button, and that's taken for granted.
Once you have a dramatically lower cost access to space, then many things are enabled. You can think of like, once you got the Union Pacific Railroad, then getting to the West Coast was much faster and much less dangerous.
Yeah.
You're not likely to sort of end up eating your compatriots in a snowy situation. So you just take the train. In the beginning they thought, why the heck are they building that stupid railway? There's nobody there. and they're like, but once you build the railway, they're like, okay, now it's easy to get to the West Coast, and now a huge portion of the U.S. population is on the West Coast. And actually, California is the most populous state in the nation, but it used to be, well, least populous, I suppose, or pretty low. So many things are possible once the transport problem is solved. So that's why I think it's so fundamental. But if you can't get there, or getting there takes a long time, and you can't risk, and every mission's got to work, then it's very hard to innovate.
Yeah.
It's got to be that, okay, some missions won't work, and the cost of running the experiment is low. That's why I'm harping so much on the cost of transport. So, you know, once you're there, I think, like say, establishing a base on the moon or base on Mars, there's just a tremendous amount of work that's needed to create a self-sustaining base on the moon or Mars, and it opens up a tremendous amount of opportunity, just as the Union Pacific Railroad did, by making access to the West Coast much easier. Yeah, I mean, outside of the space realm, I think there's still a lot of opportunity in tunnels. I've been saying that for a long time. And tunnels are great. They're really great. And the Boring Company is about to finish its first tunnel in Vegas. I encourage people to please copy the Boring Company, or do better. That'd be great. Things are definitely going to go into kind of autonomous, locally autonomous drone warfare. Is where it's at, where the future will be. I'm just saying, it's not, I want the future to be this. It's just, this is what the future will be.
Okay.
Is autonomous drone warfare. And at a local level, can't believe I'm saying this, because this is like dangerous, but it's simply what will occur is sort of is drones locally being autonomous, but I think we still want to retain sort of the authority to damage or destroy anything that isn't an autonomous drone. Keep that authority back here with a person in the loop.
Okay.
But it's the fighter jet era has passed. It's essentially information theory and physical theory. If you want to understand the nature of the universe, these have a very good predictive power, physics and computer science.
Okay.
Again, I can't emphasize enough how important reusable rockets are.
The most near-term impact from a technological standpoint is autonomous cars, like fully self-driving cars. Like I said, that's going to happen much faster than people realize. It's going to be a great convenience to be an autonomous car, but there are many people whose jobs it is to drive. So in fact, I think it might be the single largest employer of people is driving in various forms. And so then we need to figure out new roles for what do those people do. But it will be very disruptive and very quick. Now, I should characterize what I mean by quick, because there are quick means different things to different people. There are over 2 billion vehicles in the world, approaching 2.5 billion cars and trucks in the world. The total new vehicle production capacity is about 100 million, which makes sense because the life of a car or truck before it's finally scrapped is about 20-25 years. So the point at which we see full autonomy appear will not be the point at which there is massive societal upheaval, because it will take a long time to make enough autonomous vehicles to disrupt employment. So that disruption I'm talking about will take place over about 20 years.
If you like the video,
20 years is a
do not
short
forget
period
to
of
subscribe
time
to the channel.
to
Turn on the notification to be the
have,
first to know about the release
I think,
of
something
a new
like
one.
12
Thank you
to
for watching.
15% of
See
the
you soon.
workforce be unemployed.